back to the UK. And I mean, we're looking at the role of the Zionist lobby in this country. And we obviously had David Miller on the program last week, but it's not just him that is under attack at the moment.
No, definitely not. And you talk about the Zionist lobby. This is more about Israel and the Zionist movement. So it's a much bigger complex than only a lobbying industrial complex that Israel deploys against the world, basically. And of course, this comes in the context of ongoing unthinkable genocide in Gaza. We've seen some of the most, and I don't even know how we can keep saying this, some of the most hideous massacres in the last 7 days of children, of aid camps, of refugee tents just being burned to the ground with people still in them, etc. So, you know, the horror, the absolute horror that is being perpetrated by the Zionist regime against the Palestinians in Gaza and the West Bank is something that we should all keep in mind whenever we discuss any of this. But it's my belief now, watching what is going on in the UK, that it's not only a case of potential state capture, but I think what we're now actually seeing is the expansion of a shadow state, which of course is what the British has always deployed against countries like Syria, for example. We talked many times, Mike, about the creation of a shadow state inside Syria to infiltrate and destroy infrastructure and structure institutions within Syria during the regime change war. But effectively, in my opinion, that is now exactly what Israel is doing within the UK. So I want to take the case, a relatively recent case, although it's been ongoing for 2 years. It's now being ramped up against an NHS doctor. I understand she's a trainee orthopedic surgeon also, Dr. Rahmeh Aladwan, who you can go to her X account to follow all of the details on her case. And this is just one section from her pinned post. If my British government, she's a British citizen, wants to let you, meaning the Zionists, do this to their NHS doctor who has zero patient complaints or disciplinary actions, and let you dictate who gets to practice medicine in Britain, depriving the British public of my care, then so be it. We will never abandon Gaza. So let's dig down into what is actually happening. This is a video. She originally came under investigation by the Medical Council, the GMC, under the Terrorist Act, of course. That case, after 9 months, was dismissed. There were no charges against her, etc. And this is just her little explanation on that.
The GMC found no basis for any of the allegations under the Terrorism Act and asked me to comment on the anti-Semitism allegations. Case examiners found no realistic evidence that my fitness to practice is impaired and closed the case. No action, no warning, case closed. Rightfully so. This smear piece is a retaliation. What are they saying? Who exactly is saying it? Who is this mystery colleague? And what is their true intention?
So basically, once she was cleared by the GMC and back at work, this happened. So in February 2025, the Daily Mail ran a horrendous smear piece against Rahmeh, the shocking full extent of anti-Semitism at the heart of our health service, from the doctor terrifying colleagues with her views to the neurologist idolizing Hamas. And this is written by junior news reporter Sabrina Miller. People might recognize her from the former Bristol University student who waged a campus war for Israel against David Miller. Of course, David Miller eventually won his case against Bristol University and is now facing an appeal case by the Zionist lobby, basically the Zionist movement. So then Rahmeh basically looked into or discovered those who were attacking her through the Daily Mail article. She again put all this information out on X. So she says here, leaked, confirmed, the doctor who had lied about me in the Daily Mail's defamatory article, Dr. Miriam Green, is the same colleague who complained to Whittington Hospital, our workplace, about my online Palestine activism and had me fired. Now, in one video, Rahmeh actually explains what really happened is that she was in tears because of something that had just happened in Gaza that had deeply traumatized her. She'd entered the work staff room and she had spoken to Miriam Green about it, who had turned tail and said, basically shrugged her shoulders and walked out. And as a result of that, she led this case against Rahmeh. So she then goes on to explain what happened once she'd been doxxed by Dr. Miriam Green, who was her junior on the medical staff. Her private information was shared. A friend and fellow doctor was doxxed the same night. Their private information was shared. I received rape and death threats. We both had to call the police. The police came to her home. They sent me panic alarms and followed up with me for weeks. They transferred me to a hate crime support group. And it goes on from there. So she basically says in this, what is happening in Britain? She alerts us all to what is going on.
We have done the same to me. Difference here is they're targeting a British citizen on British soil, all while rallying for a foreign state. By leveraging their ties to the media and the government, many UK LFI lawyers are lords. They're acting as foreign agents, breaching UK democracy, security and interest. The GMC reiterated that my posts are within the limits of political speech, which attracts the highest level of protection under Article 10. The political debate is basically their opinion versus mine. Theirs being in support of the state committing genocide, and mine, which opposes genocide, leading to 9 months of regulatory action. This is what creates an issue in modern-day Britain.
I think she's absolutely right there, and we can continue to discuss that in extra. But she went on to say that another doctor was revealed to have been responsible for the report against her, which is Dr. Justin Stebbing, previously suspended for mistreating cancer patients and for inappropriate conduct with a female patient. Stebbing is a British Jewish oncologist and cancer expert, cancer and COVID-19 treatment researcher. Again, the COVID-19 connection at Imperial College London with a Harley Street private practice. She goes on to point out that the medical practitioner board, the chair of the board, Miss Margaret Obi, called for his erasure from the medical register, stating that he showed persistent dishonesty and no remorse. Sharon Beattie, QC for the GMC, agreed and expressed concerns about an ongoing risk to patient safety due to his persistent dishonesty, which he had attempted to cover up. Yet he avoided being struck off. Why? And as one person responded on the post from Rahmeh, Leila Hamad, who's a Spanish-Moroccan journalist, she said basically because he is protected by government, shielded by lobbies, excused by media, and weaponizing anti-Semitism to silence critics. This is why they are immune everywhere. Again, I agree with this. And then basically what she then went on to explain is regarding Miriam Green, who doxed her and another colleague basically last year. Sorry, I'm getting mixed up with the dates. This is what she has now said about Miriam Green. So part of my now second GMC investigation, so she's now facing a second investigation, and first referral to a tribunal hearing, which could potentially suspend me and revoke my license, is that I doxed Miriam Green, the same Miriam who made sure that in less than 1 month of working with me, I was fired. This is Jewish supremacy, which is Zionism. This is Jewish privilege. This is the double standard. This is Britain. We are occupied. Very strong words, but I second them entirely. And then let's have a look at another organization quickly that is going after Rahmeh. So this is the Campaign Against Semitism organization in the UK. I was speaking to David Miller about this morning because they've also now joined in on the attack against David Miller for the second appeal case. They're trying to take a private case against David Miller to add to his burden of Zionist movement persecution, basically. Now, the odd thing is, Mike and I were talking about this morning. On the website, the only two representatives that you see are Gideon Falter on the left and Stephen Silverman on the right. There are no other employees listed on the Charities Commission. Also, there are no trustees, no directors listed. And David told me through his research that he's discovered that they've been given special dispensation to not expose their directors on the Charities Commission website. Extraordinary. So David, back in, I think this was 2024, he wrote an article about Gideon Falter campaign against anti-Semitism, instruments of the Zionist entity. So the CAA is a covert instrument of the foreign policy objectives of the illegitimate and genocidal Zionist regime, working in the UK, of course, and it should be shut down. They're receiving massive funding from basically organizations within the Zionist movement in the UK. And all this while, of course, the Palestine Action Group is being prescribed as a terrorist organization. And we still have now 24 Palestine Action young people in jail facing trial, but they're in jail and undergoing sort of Abu Ghraib style detention. An anti-genocide protester in British jail. And if we look at what she actually says in the article, in August 2024, heavily armed police arrested me and one other person. She says basically they came in the first time with guns, flying a drone above our heads while we were completely unarmed and in our pajamas. She was let go and arrested again 4 months later. Police surrounded me in my bed while I was sleeping and naked, breaking down my front door and destroying my bathroom. In another brutal example, 30 police officers entered a family home to arrest one person. We were all detained in specialist counterterrorism units around the country, although the terrorism charge has been dropped. Oh, sorry, can I just go back to that for a second? They're interrogated multiple times a day and experience sleep deprivation with lights kept on 24 hours a day with no windows. They initially had no contact with loved ones and were kept in isolation for up to a week before being remanded in prison. I mean, me personally, I just find this absolutely horrifying. The contrast between how real criminals who happen to be protected by the Zionist movement are being let off scot-free, while those that are protesting genocide, defending the Palestinians, are held in conditions that can be compared to Abu Ghraib. And finally, I just want to end with what is an emotional part of her statement from Dr. Rahmeh Aladwan, and ask you all to support her as much as you can on her social media and wherever you can, basically.
I have persevered, but I am also a human. It has not been easy. And every time I cry, I remember one martyred child or a mother of a martyr, and it fills me with determination and resistance. So please don't let them scare you into silence because of me, because they haven't managed to scare me into it. Please let this empower you. If you're speaking out, continue. If you haven't, you decide what choice of yours history will remember. Whether it's silence in the face of the most documented genocide in history, or your clear stance for humanity.
Thoughts?
Well, I think it's appalling, Mike, and we at the UK column have been warning for many years that we have a foreign power which is taking more and more control within UK. We talked about David Cameron saying that his belief in Israel was unshakable. And of course, if you say that and believe it, that means that UK comes second. So we pointed that out. We had Francis Maude announcing effectively a partnership of all the security and intelligence services and the universities with Israel. And all of this was done with absolutely no discussion with the public. So there's no accountability. And it's clear that this partnership, in inverted commas, has just got more and more complex and buried itself deeper and deeper into British society. And there's a lot of questions to be asked. And I think the good thing which is starting to happen is more and more Jewish people are expressing concerns about what's happening here because they realise how dangerous this is to them. And as you say, Vanessa, we can talk about this more in UK column extra at the end of the news.